What I'm going to talk about in this video is the missed opportunities of the 1980s. Again, in a previous video, I talked about how the 1980s were a golden age, and they really were. African Americans, there was a lot of opportunities there for us to capitalize on, but many of us African Americans, we were too busy being consumers to focus on production. Uh, the black economy was at its strongest during the 1980s. I'd have to say we had a lot of job opportunities. We had a lot of blacks entering the middle class. And there was a great opportunity there to make wealth. But many African Americans, because a lot of African Americans, a lot of African American households had been turned into female headed households due to feminism. Um, we missed that opportunity. I mean, thanks to feminism and all that other stuff, we didn't have, yeah, we blew the chance. There was a great opportunity for African Americans to make wealth. I mean, for example, here in New York City, the city was literally crumbling and falling apart. You had landlords abandoning property because they couldn't afford to pay the taxes and the maintenance and the insurance. I mean, in Harlem, there was just so many brownstones available. They're available for like 10, 15, $20,000. Even in the 80s, $20,000 wasn't that much money. That was a big opportunity, and African Americans, sadly, we didn't have the vision to take those dilapidated housing, build it up, and build our own community. And instead of that, what we spent our money on was sneakers, Air Jordan tennis shoes, leather jackets, gold chains, booming sound systems, um, Pierre Cardin. The list goes on. Black people consumed and consumed and consumed. I remember there were plenty of black people with good jobs. They had good government jobs. They had like the post office, city jobs, government jobs. Black people, I mean, black people were really coming up in the 80s. But a lot of us did not understand how to build that into wealth. We didn't think about buying homes. A lot of people, they were living ghetto fabulous, talking about, I'm going to live in the projects. I'm making $35,000 a year, but they're going to live in the projects. Not understanding that homes build equity, they build wealth, and they allow the owners to own part of their community. Instead of thinking about community ownership or community economics, a lot of African Americans in the 80s thought about buying junk. I mean, it was very fairly common to see a Mercedes out of a project, and people dressed up in leather jackets and fur coats instead of saying I own property. Because it's sad. The sad or horrible truth is a lot of African Americans did not want to work for anything. I mean, yeah, they had jobs, but we're talking about working. Working meaning as in you're building your own community, you're building your own businesses, and creating a place for your families and to thrive and to grow. Um, because there was plenty of money coming in. I mean, you had the rap game coming up, and not a single person thought to build up from the rap entertainment business thought about taking their money and investing it back into the community. They took their money and they spent it on consumer items. Again, the sneakers, the gold chains, the leather jackets, the expensive cars. They didn't think about buying a single house or starting a single side business or even buying franchises like McDonald's or KFC or things of that nature. I mean, those were businesses that we could have owned, and they could have been black owned businesses, but African Americans in the 80s missed that opportunity. Another opportunity, this is not ethical and it's not really just, but it was an opportunity. You had all this money coming in from the drug game, billions of dollars, all this money from crack epidemic, all of that money again spent on sneakers, gold chains, just frivolous sundry items, or spent on women, which is also a frivolous expense. None of these guys took the time to build the wealth. I mean, if you look, for example, if you contrast the way African Americans had money in the 80s to the way organized crime had money back in the 30s, those guys, the Italians who ran it, Al Capone and them, when they had money, they were buying politicians, they were buying businesses, They literally bought political power, they bought economic power, and they had control. And later on, even after they got busted, even after Al Capone got busted, the political structure was still there that he had. He had a seat at the political table to establish policy. I mean, guys like Joe Kennedy and them, again, he was a big member of organized crime. It's historically stated. He was a member of organized crime. And he had a seat at the table. He took his wealth and influence, he took his and bought political power. None of the African Americans thought to do that during the 80s or the early 90s during the height of the crack epidemic. And a lot of people think that there was a lot of opportunity there. There was lots and lots of opportunity, but we blew that opportunity to establish ourselves as a political power base, as a business base. A lot of us, everybody made money off African Americans in the African American community during the 80s and the 90s. I mean, literally everybody. I mean, the Koreans came up on the African Americans, the Indians came up on the African Americans, Hispanics came up on the African Americans because there was many a bodega in the African American community, and Hispanics got rich. Now they have a political power base here in New York City. Koreans have a political base. I mean, they literally made all their money in the African American community before moving out to Queens. They made all their money in small stores in the Bronx. And now, I mean, I watched over the last 20 years, I watched how Koreans had stores in the Bronx, and they literally moved out of the Bronx. A lot of them moved to Queens. A lot of the Asian stores that sold hair hats and coat hats and sundry items, all those guys moved out of the Bronx. And now they have their own neighborhoods in Queens. They have their own businesses in Queens. They're going, I don't need the Negro anymore. I don't need African Americans anymore. And right now, Hispanics are doing the same thing. They're forming their own communities, and the African American has been shut out. And the African American is still scratching his head, still trying to figure out where he's going wrong. And he didn't understand. He had the opportunity way back in the 1980s, and I even say the late 70s, to do something. But instead of focusing on taking care of business and building up his community, his and her community, African Americans decided they wanted to become consumers rather than producers. And it is their consumption that fuels the American economy right now. I mean, African Americans, pretty much, we don't produce anything. Outside of a handful of people, we don't produce anything. We don't produce anything of value. We don't have any goods to sell outside of the community, and we don't have businesses that make people want to come into the community to come buy our stuff. And that's what keeps many African Americans poor. And the thing is that our poverty mindset, we don't have an entrepreneurial mindset, and we need to start thinking like entrepreneurs and stop thinking like consumers, because consumerism is the thing that's killing black people. I mean, it's killing us more than anything else. That mindset, that way of thinking. That's all I have to say for this video. I'm gonna